Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to talk about signs you are a rare and exceptional type of woman. We're going to make the male and female version. I don't know which one is going to be posted first, but I will be making both, so don't worry. Any research is going to be in the description box, but I also used databases, and a lot of them are United States based. And so some of these things are more exceptional or rare in the United States, but not as exceptional or rare as other countries. And so maybe uncommon might be a better way to put it, but we'll talk about that. The very first one is actually a behavioral type of trait and characteristic, and this becomes a little bit more common as people age. But in general, a person, a lady who is able to apologize actually is uncommon. And I think a lot of people are working on this, and I think that's a good thing. But if you are a person who feels comfortable apologizing and you really genuinely feel like you did something wrong and you want to improve, and you translate that apology verbally, I'm sorry, that was on me, that's my fault, I apologize for what I did, those things can actually be something that does actually make you more exceptional. And sometimes people might perceive you as more ahead of other people, which could be beneficial to you, okay? The next one is actually that you feel comfortable taking accountability and trying to change. So it's one thing to say sorry. It's a good thing, right? But there is another aspect, which actually taking accountability and changing. You know what? I'm sorry I said that. Let me readjust that. Or could you clarify what you mean by that so that I know what to do next? Right? Something along those lines. It doesn't have to be that you're always apologizing even when it's not necessary, right? And sometimes people do that. I know I apologize a little bit unnecessarily because I'm very used to working with a lot of different personality traits. I work with a lot of personality disorders, and sometimes saying that can really help them feel trusted. And also, sometimes I'm a little bit blunt. So sometimes I do that. I'm not really necessarily talking about that, even though that's helpful to some extent. Again, some people it can come across annoying, which I understand as well. But I mean taking accountability and saying, you know what, I did do that, and I want to change. I want to get better. And so that's what I kind of mean about this particular characteristic. Okay. The next one is actually financial data. I'm studying psychology, so I'm not in finance, but this is still data that I just pulled up. It's not research, it's data. It's a little different, okay? Some people consider it the same. I don't. If you have less than $6,000 worth of credit card debt in the United States, so the average credit card debt is around $6,000. To me, that was actually really interesting. I didn't even know that. But if you have less than that, it means that you are exceptional and rare. On the flip side, if you have more than that, you actually might also be uncommon, exceptional, rare. But I think most people want less debt, not more. But it's up to you. 6,000 is around 6,000 is the average. So if you're not in that range, likely you're a little bit more exceptional, okay? The next one is might be a little triggering, and the next ones coming up might be. So just keep that in mind. We're going to talk about more physical characteristics and also how you connect with other people. This is not to offend. I'm just making a video. I'm not a medical doctor, so some things I talk about, they're just based on things that I just pulled up on the data. If it's healthy or unhealthy, I'm not going to speak to that. Not a medical doctor, okay? But the first one is more psychological that we're just about to talk about, which I see a lot. And we have some research on this as well. You are careful who you connect with both physically and emotionally. You don't connect just with any person, right? You understand that you have to protect who you connect with physically and emotionally, not only because it's beneficial for your mental health, but it's also for your future partner or your future family so that you can really feel that you set your own boundaries, and it helps you to respect yourself and your worth from your perspective, right? There is a self-esteem correlation to this, actually. And if anybody's struggling with a personality disorder, being more careful who you connect with both physically and emotionally can help stabilize you to some extent, depending. Like if you have borderline personality disorder, sometimes you may struggle with this. And so being more managed about who you connect with and taking a little bit more time can actually reduce some of those fluctuating symptoms you may have when you attach to somebody and with your abandonment and struggle of that sort, right? Particularly for borderline. But anyways, in general, who you connect with both physically and emotionally can really help you to be more aware of what you need in your life, which will help you to be more emotionally stable, which also helps you to be a little bit more exceptional and rare in comparison to other folks. So that's something to keep in mind, okay? The next one is you are self-aware. If you're a lady who feels like you're a little bit self-aware, or you're really trying to work on yourself, this is actually something that can be considered very exceptional and very appreciative, not just necessarily something statistically, but also in of itself. A lot of people, based on research, really do appreciate people who are more self-aware. It makes them actually feel self-aware in of themselves. A lot of people actually want to be self-aware. And so you being self-aware not only helps people to trust you more, there's a trustworthy aspect. It also helps you to model this behavior so that other people can feel the sense of responsibility that you hold to yourself. They will also hold themselves to that standard. And that will likely mean that you also attract people who are more mentally healthy or ready to also be held to that standard as well. Because likely, if you're self-aware, people who are less self-aware, they'll start to realize that in comparison to you, if that makes sense. And so you will also attract people who are a little bit more like-minded to yourself, which is a bonus, I feel, okay? The next one is we're going to talk about something physical. This is not a judgment on anybody's body, okay? We are just using data and statistics, and that is in the description box. But I really feel that what we're talking about may be triggering. So please, if you are a lady who feels triggered about body image and things like that, I just want to tell you, I'm not judging your body. We all have different bodies, but if you feel that this is going to be triggering, we're going to talk about weight, okay? And so I would say just click off, okay? But we're going to go ahead and jump right in. The average woman in the United States is 170 pounds with a correlation to the height of 5'4", with a BMI of about 29, okay? Again, not a medical doctor, but what this means, I believe it's in the overweight category. And so if you are somebody who's higher or lower, I think from a health standpoint, you want to be, what is it called? I think it's called a normal body weight, actually. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember. But there is a body weight that is in between underweight and overweight. That is the area, I believe, from the research that I was looking at. But in general, that is the healthiest spot. And so likely that's probably where you want to go. But where you're in that spot, you're also more exceptional and rare, at least in the United States. Of course, if you're higher than that, that is also exceptional and rare. However, I believe there's health issues attached to that. So that's something to keep in mind. Not a medical doctor, so I'm not going to touch on it. Let's move on, okay? The next one is that you have green eyes. Green eyes seems to be one of the more rarer or exceptional characteristics of a person. I believe emerald is the one that was mentioned, but green in general, I don't know much about that, but it is something to keep in mind. Green eyes are pretty rare and exceptional. This is based on the United States, but I think in general, around the world, green eyes is one of the more rarer characteristics that you can have, okay? The next one, if you are a rare or exceptional type of lady, you may have ginger hair or platinum blonde hair, or another version that's like, could be also uncommon is like strawberry blonde. These ones, based on what I saw, could be wrong, but the statistic that I pulled up, these are the more rare characteristics of your hair within reason, okay? Not necessarily with health issues, because there are other types of hair and eye colors that are a little bit more uncommon due to medical issues, but these ones are more uncommon without having, certain medical issues attached to it, okay? So ginger hair, strawberry blonde, or platinum blonde hair. So these are some of the characteristics that together might mean that you are an exceptional and rare type of person. We put some psychological aspects in there, put some physical, and we also just put a little bit more physiological, okay? So I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.